In the deepest corners of the galaxy, a mysterious armor, the last relic of a long-lost human empire, lay hidden for centuries, waiting. It was said to possess the power to defeat entire fleets and control the very fabric of reality. But there was one catch. The armor rejected every alien species that tried to claim it. No alien could wield its power. Across the stars, the most advanced species had fought, manipulated, and destroyed everything in their path in an attempt to claim this legendary prize. Alien commanders, warlords, and mercenaries all tried, one by one, to wear the armor, hoping to tap into its unimaginable power. Each time, they were met with rejection, a violent force that threw them back as the armor pulsed with energy. It was as though the armor knew who was worthy and who was not. After years of failed attempts, the galaxy had long forgotten about the armor, writing it off as a myth, an impossibility. No one understood why it rejected them, but all that was about to change. Ryder, a simple scavenger and explorer, found himself on a forgotten world, one that had been untouched by the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. The relics here had been untouched for centuries, and what Ryder didn't know was that among the ruins, the legendary armor had been waiting, not for the greatest warrior or the mightiest alien conqueror, but for a human, someone from the planet Earth, a place most aliens didn't even remember. Ryder didn't come here looking for power, but he couldn't deny the pull of the armor when it called to him. The moment he touched it, the armor responded. It enveloped him, forming around his body, bonding to him in a way that no alien species had ever been able to achieve. The power inside it surged through him like a river of fire. The armor recognized him. And for the first time in galactic history, the armor that rejected every alien had chosen a human. Ryder was about to discover just how much the galaxy underestimated humanity, and how the tide of power was about to change forever. The galaxy had long been governed by its most powerful civilizations, each with advanced technologies and well-established empires that spanned across stars. The Vorlex, the Syrinx, and countless other species had built their empires through conquest, diplomacy, and exploitation of the lesser-known races. But one thing was certain. The most coveted relics in the galaxy were always weapons, and there was no greater weapon than the ancient armor that had once belonged to humanity. A weapon so powerful, so invincible, that it could defeat entire fleets and alter the very fabric of reality. The armor, however, was no ordinary weapon. It had been lost to time after the fall of humanity's galactic empire, a mighty civilization that had once ruled the stars. But as humanity's influence waned, its greatest relics were hidden, sealed away from the galaxy that had risen to dominance in their absence. The armor, being the most powerful of these relics, was sought after for centuries by alien conquerors, treasure hunters, and warlords. Yet every attempt to claim it had failed. The armor rejected every alien species that dared approach it. It didn't matter how powerful they were or how advanced their technology. The armor was designed for one species, and one species alone: humans. For centuries, this was the only truth the galaxy knew. The armor was lost to time, its significance buried beneath centuries of misinformation. No alien leader could wear it. It was too much of a mystery, too much of an enigma. Some believed it was cursed, others believed it simply didn't work. The legends of the armor had grown faint, and the idea that humanity's greatest relic could ever return became just another myth in the vast sea of galactic history. This was the state of things when Ryder, a human scavenger with no idea of his own significance, stumbled upon the ancient ruins of a forgotten world. Ryder had been hired by an anonymous client to explore the uncharted planet, searching for relics, lost tech, and anything that could fetch a price. But when he stumbled upon the secret vault deep within the planet's crust, Ryder didn't realize he had just uncovered the key to the galaxy's future. The armor lay dormant, hidden in the darkness for centuries, waiting. Ryder didn't know it, but his arrival was no accident. The galaxy had forgotten Earth, but the armor never did. Its design was perfect for one purpose: to choose its rightful bearer, one who could unlock its full potential and bring humanity back into the galactic fold. And that bearer was Ryder. As Ryder approached the artifact, An ancient hum filled the air, a low frequency that seemed to vibrate the ground beneath him. The armor, lying dormant for centuries, began to glow with a soft, inviting light. The relic recognized him, not just as a human, but as the one who had been chosen. When Ryder placed his hand on the armor, the suit responded. Unlike the alien species that had tried and failed before him, Ryder felt the armor react in a way he never could have imagined. The metal shifted and molded to his form, flowing like liquid. But its purpose was clear. It was choosing him. For the first time, the armor that rejected every alien did not push Ryder away. Instead, it bonded with him, creating a suit that was as much a part of him as his own skin. The sheer power of the armor surged through him, amplifying his strength, reflexes, and senses. The force of the bond between him and the armor was so powerful that it made him feel invincible, as though he could take on the entire galaxy itself. What Ryder didn't realize was that the armor's return was not just a symbol of humanity's strength. It was a signal to the galaxy that humanity's power was about to resurface. The galactic balance of power was about to be shaken, and Ryder, once just an ordinary man, would be at the center of it all. The legend was no longer just a myth. Humanity was coming back, and it was stronger than ever. The armor was just the beginning. Ryder was about to discover that the power of humanity, once thought to be lost forever, was now ready to rise again. And the galaxy would never be the same. For centuries, the armor had been the most sought-after relic in the galaxy. Its power was legendary. It was said to possess the ability to annihilate entire fleets, control the elements, and enhance the wearer's strength to unimaginable levels. But every species that had attempted to claim it met with the same fate: rejection. The first time an alien tried to approach the armor was a Voralex warlord, renowned for his physical prowess and intelligence. The Voralex had dominated planets for centuries, their technology superior, and their warriors virtually invincible. When news of the armor's existence spread, the warlord, confident in his superiority, made the journey to claim it. He stepped into the ancient vault where the armor lay dormant, untouched for so long, with the belief that his species' greatness would allow him to claim what others could not. As soon as his hand touched the armor's surface, the ground beneath him began to tremble. The hum of energy filled the air, growing louder with each second. The armor glowed with an intense light. Then suddenly, a blast of force surged out from it, throwing the warlord back with tremendous power. He crashed against the wall of the vault, stunned and disoriented. The armor pulsed again, but this time it didn't stop. The light from it became an almost blinding flare of energy, and the warlord was ejected from the room entirely, his body sent flying across the chamber. He was left there, unconscious and humiliated. This rejection was not merely physical. It was as if the armor knew the warlord wasn't worthy. No matter how advanced the species was, the armor was programmed to reject anything that was not human. The Syrinx, another alien race known for their vast intellect, decided to try their hand next. The Syrinx were natural philosophers and tacticians, their mental capabilities unrivaled. Surely, they thought, their minds would be able to bond with the armor in a way no one else had. The leader of the Syrinx, a being known for his ability to predict future events, walked confidently toward the armor. His hands, delicate yet powerful, reached out. As his fingers brushed the surface, the armor's rejection was instantaneous. The room's temperature dropped to an unbearable cold, and the armor pulsed with a dark, violent energy. A shock wave of force shot outward, knocking the Syrinx leader back so violently that he collapsed in a heap on the ground. He was not dead, but he was defeated, his confidence shattered. Like the warlord before him, the armor had rejected him without hesitation, as if it had known the Syrinx were too different to wield its power. They weren't human. Word spread across the galaxy. Every alien species tried, one by one, to claim the armor. But each effort ended the same way. The Kresh, the Voraakians, even the Mechker, all were met with the same violent rejection. The armor seemed to pulse with energy that vibrated against their very DNA, pushing them away. The more powerful the alien, the more violent the rejection became, until finally, The galaxy's most influential species began to wonder, why does it refuse us? In the years that followed, the armor became a legend, a mystery that could not be solved. Some speculated that it was cursed. Others believed it was simply too advanced, a relic of a time long gone. But none of them understood the truth, that the armor wasn't rejecting them because they were weak, but because they were not human. The armor had been created by humans, and it was designed to accept only those of human origin. Its power had been forged specifically to recognize humanity, and until a human came to claim it, the armor would remain silent, waiting. The galaxy's most powerful species, each more advanced than the last, had no idea what they were dealing with. And they would soon learn, the hard way, that the armor wasn't just a weapon. It was a message that humanity was not finished yet, and that the time for their return had come. Ryder had never been someone who sought out fame or power. He was a scavenger, an explorer, wandering the fringes of the galaxy in search of relics that could be sold for a quick profit. It wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't easy, but it was a living. As a human in the far reaches of the universe, Ryder had grown accustomed to being ignored, dismissed, and often looked down upon. But he had learned how to survive through resourcefulness and cunning, relying on his skills rather than strength or status. His current job had led him to a forgotten planet, far from the well-traveled star routes. The coordinates had been passed to him by an old contact, a fellow scavenger who had spoken in hushed tones about an ancient relic buried beneath the surface. Ryder didn't know what it was or why it had been left behind, but the potential profit made it worth investigating. As he descended through the planet's atmosphere, the desolate surface stretched out before him, a barren, rocky landscape pocked with craters and broken structures. The place felt ancient. He couldn't quite explain it, but something about this world spoke to him, as if it had been waiting for someone. Ryder landed his small cargo ship near an ancient ruin, a crumbling structure, half buried under layers of dust and debris. The air was thin, and the sky had a reddish hue, giving the place a haunting, otherworldly atmosphere. Ryder donned his gear, adjusted his scanners, and set out on foot. The ruins were a maze of twisted metal and stone, all but forgotten by time. And as he explored, he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread mixed with curiosity. Then he found it. Hidden deep within the heart of the ruins, buried under layers of rock, was a massive, sealed door. The metal was strange, unlike anything he had ever seen, and it was covered in symbols that seemed to pulse faintly in the dim light. Ryder's scanner beeped, signaling that the structure was ancient, but the readings were off the charts. Nothing from this era should be this powerful. He knelt, brushing away the debris to reveal the intricate markings. As his fingers traced the symbols, the ground beneath him vibrated, and the door slowly began to open, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, resting on a pedestal, was the armor, gleaming with a soft, ethereal glow. It was unlike anything Ryder had ever seen before, sleek yet imposing, its design futuristic and almost alien in its intricacy. The armor seemed to hum, as if alive, reacting to his presence. Ryder was momentarily stunned, the sight before him almost too much to comprehend. This was no ordinary relic. It was alive with power. Without thinking, Ryder stepped forward. His mind raced as he reached out and touched the smooth surface of the armor. Immediately, a jolt of energy surged through him, as if the armor had been waiting for him to make contact. The metal began to shift, reacting to his touch like liquid, molding around his body. Ryder gasped, feeling the armor bond to him, its power flooding into his veins. The armor's glow intensified, and Ryder felt his entire being filled with raw strength. His senses sharpened, his vision, hearing, and reflexes all enhanced, as though he were connected to something far beyond his understanding. The armor was not just a suit, it was a living entity that had recognized something within him. He was worthy. He looked down at the sleek, metallic suit now, enveloping his body. The weight of it wasn't heavy, but instead it felt natural, like an extension of himself. The surface seemed to respond to his thoughts, shifting and adapting with each subtle movement. Ryder could feel the power coursing through him, a power unlike anything he had ever imagined. He stepped back, taking a moment to adjust to the new sensations. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. He was something more, something the galaxy had not seen in centuries. As Ryder stood there, bathed in the soft glow of the armor, he could sense something deeper, a strange connection between him and the relic. The armor had chosen him, and as it recognized him, it revealed something incredible. This was no mere suit of protection. It was a weapon, capable of reshaping the very balance of the galaxy. But there was a deeper question now. Why had the armor chosen him? Ryder didn't have time to dwell on it. The echoes of footsteps and the sound of alien ships landing outside the ruins reached his ears. He wasn't the only one who had come for the relic. But unlike the others, he now held the power to change the fate of the galaxy. He wasn't just scavenging for relics anymore. He was about to become part of something much greater, a force that could reclaim humanity's lost place in the galaxy. Ryder had no idea how much the armor would alter his life, but one thing was certain. The galaxy would never be the same again. Ryder stood at the heart of the ruin, the ancient armor now fully bonded to his body. The once silent, dormant relic had become a living extension of his will, humming with power and unfathomable energy. It wasn't just a suit of armor. It was a legacy, an artifact of a forgotten civilization that had been hidden away for centuries, waiting for someone worthy to awaken its true potential. The realization hit Ryder hard as the armor's energy surged through his veins. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. This armor wasn't a mere weapon. It was a key, a bridge between humanity's lost past and its glorious future. It was meant to be wielded by the strongest of humankind, chosen by an ancient force beyond his understanding. The armor's design was intricate and flawless, its smooth metallic surface shifting as if it were alive, responding to Ryder's every thought. It adapted to his movements with perfect precision, almost as if it anticipated his actions before he even decided on them. Each breath Ryder took was amplified, and with every passing second, he felt the power of an entire civilization coursing through his body. He flexed his arm, and with a thought, the armor expanded to reveal a set of energy blades embedded within the forearms, glowing with radiant, brilliant blue energy. They shimmered like a rare gemstone, reflecting the light that had started to grow more intense around him. Ryder marveled at the perfect harmony between the armor and himself. It was as if it had been made for him alone. The armor, however, had more than just strength and speed. With a flick of his wrist, Ryder activated the next function, the ability to manipulate energy fields. A force field expanded around him, flickering and glowing with a soft hum. Ryder could feel it pushing back against the air like a wall of invisible force, making him feel invincible. With the power of the armor, he could now control gravitational fields, deflect energy blasts, and even create an impenetrable shield around himself. But the most remarkable ability was its psychic interface. Ryder suddenly felt a surge of awareness. His mind linked directly to the armor systems, as if the armor could read his thoughts, even the ones that were barely conscious. The sudden influx of information felt overwhelming at first. He saw battles, wars, ancient civilizations, and countless images of human conquest, of humans who had once ruled the galaxy with this very power. As the visions faded, Ryder understood what had been hidden from the galaxy for centuries. The armor had not only rejected the aliens, it had also locked away humanity's legacy, until the time was right for humanity to return. And now, that time had come. His eyes glowed brighter, his awareness extending outward. With the armor's capabilities fully realized, Ryder could sense alien life forms within miles of his position. The armor had given him the ability to detect even the faintest signs of life, and Ryder could hear whispers, the voices of those who sought to stop him. Outside the ruins, the alien ships were already preparing for their descent. Ryder knew that the galaxy's most powerful species had finally realized that the armor was not just a relic. It was a weapon of mass destruction, one that could reshape the balance of power across the stars. But Ryder wasn't afraid. The armor had given him the power to challenge those who sought to dominate the galaxy. With a thought, the armor activated its offensive capabilities. energy cannons built into the shoulders and back, designed to target and obliterate threats. Ryder didn't need to wait for the aliens to land. He could feel them, close, preparing for their assault. He took a deep breath and, without hesitation, raised his hand toward the sky. A blinding beam of pure energy shot from his palm, cutting through the sky like a sword. The beam split the air, striking the approaching alien ships, which were suddenly engulfed in a blaze of light. Ryder watched as the ships crumpled under the immense force, their hulls disintegrating upon impact. Within moments, the sky was filled with the remnants of their destruction, the debris burning up in the atmosphere. The power of the armor was now undeniable. Ryder had become a living weapon, capable of shifting the balance of the galaxy's fate with a single thought. He took a moment to revel in the victory. Yet, deep down, he knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy's most powerful species, once dismissive of humans, now had to reckon with them. Ryder's power, fueled by the legacy of humanity, was about to send a message across the stars. Humans were no longer a forgotten species. They were rising, and the galaxy would have no choice but to recognize their might. But even as Ryder prepared to confront the next wave of alien invaders, he couldn't shake the question that lingered in his mind. What would humanity do with this power? Would they rise as conquerors, seeking vengeance for centuries of oppression? Or would they use it to reshape the galaxy in a way that would bring peace? Ryder's journey had only just begun, but one thing was certain. The galaxy was on the brink of a new era, and humanity was at the center of it. The armor's full potential had been unleashed, and with it, Ryder held the key to the galaxy's future. As the glow from the armor dimmed, Ryder stood amidst the wreckage of the alien ships, the battle raging in his mind just as fiercely as it had in the skies above. The immense power he now wielded was undeniable. He had destroyed an entire invasion fleet with a single thought, wielding the power of humanity's greatest relic, as though it were an extension of his own will. But with this power came an overwhelming responsibility, and Ryder felt a growing tension inside him, a deep conflict about what came next. Humanity's return had begun, and it was inevitable that the galaxy would notice. Ryder knew what they were capable of, what they had been capable of in their long-forgotten past. The armor's memories, the images it had shown him of humanity's rise and fall, filled him with a sense of both awe and dread. Humanity had once been a force that shaped the galaxy, feared and respected by all. But in those same memories, Ryder also saw the darker side of human history, the wars, the conquest, the ambition that often led to tyranny. Was he now destined to repeat the mistakes of the past? The power at his command was intoxicating. He could feel it in his bones, the unmatched strength the armor provided. He could obliterate anyone who stood in his way. He could rule, conquer, reshape the galaxy in the image he chose. The temptation was there, heavy and undeniable. But as he stood there, watching the last remnants of the alien fleet burn up in the atmosphere, Ryder was struck by a thought. Was that really the future he wanted for humanity? The choice was his. The armor was his to wield, his to control, and with it, he could claim whatever power he desired. But with this gift came a dangerous responsibility. If Ryder used the armor recklessly, if he let his newfound power shape him into a tyrant, there would be no going back. Humanity had the potential to build a better future, but it also had the potential to destroy everything. His mind raced as he thought about what it meant to be a leader. Could he, an ordinary man turned invincible warrior, guide humanity with the wisdom of those who came before him? Or would he fall victim to the same flaws that had led humanity to ruin? But Ryder wasn't entirely alone in his thoughts. As he turned, the armor's communication systems activated, a soft voice speaking directly into his mind. It was the armor, not just as a weapon, but as something more, an extension of human knowledge. Ryder, the voice resonated in his mind. You have the power to change the course of history, to reclaim humanity's place among the stars. But this path will not be easy. You must choose your path carefully. The armor's power is vast, but it is not invincible. You cannot afford to become what you have once fought against. Will you rule by fear, or will you rule with wisdom? Ryder stood still, his breath slow and steady. The weight of the decision was now more than just a personal choice. It was about the future of humanity itself. Was he to become a conqueror, reclaiming humanity's lost glory by force? Or would he become the beacon of hope, showing the galaxy that humanity's strength was not defined by domination, but by unity and resilience? He thought of the alien leaders, their fear of humans growing stronger with each passing moment. They had tried to wipe humanity from history, believing humans were weak, insignificant, and primitive. But now, the armor had shown them the truth. Humanity was alive, and it was powerful. But as Ryder stood there, feeling the armor's pulse echoing through him, he realized that his true strength was not just in his power. It was in his ability to choose. He could either use the armor to enforce humanity's dominance and crush anyone who stood in his way, or he could forge a new path, one that sought to build a galaxy of equals, where power was balanced with justice, and where the mistakes of the past were not repeated. Ryder's mind flashed to the memories of humanity's ancient warriors, brave and noble, but also flawed. If he was to succeed in reclaiming humanity's place in the galaxy, he needed to honor their legacy, but also ensure that humanity did not fall into the same traps that had once destroyed them. He clenched his fists, feeling the power surge through him once more. The time to decide had come. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was the guardian of humanity's future. Ryder took a deep breath, making a decision that would shape the fate of the galaxy. He wasn't going to rule by fear. He was going to lead by example, showing the galaxy that humanity could be both strong and compassionate, capable of great power, but guided by a sense of purpose. Ryder's voice echoed in his mind, speaking with quiet resolve. I will not repeat the past. I will lead humanity to a future where strength is tempered with wisdom. The galaxy will change, but it will change for the better. The armor hummed in approval, its light softening as it recognized his resolve. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and dangers. But Ryder had made his decision. Humanity's future was in his hands, and he would shape it not with a clenched fist, but with a steady, unwavering heart. The galaxy trembled. The immense power Ryder wielded was no longer a secret. In a matter of days, the alien empires that had once ruled unchecked were scrambling to respond to the rise of humanity. The Vorlex, the Syrinx, and the other galaxy-spanning civilizations had all heard the stories. How a human had activated the legendary armor. How one human had destroyed entire fleets and altered the balance of power. What had once been an ancient myth had become a living reality, and the galaxy was in chaos. Ryder stood on the bridge of his ship, staring out at the stars. The armor, now fully integrated with his body, hummed softly, as though responding to his thoughts. The power he now commanded was beyond anything he had ever imagined. His abilities were not just physical, they were mental, psychic, and strategic. He could feel the pulse of the galaxy, the movements of alien fleets, the whispers of factions plotting against him. His connection to the armor was absolute, and through it, Ryder could sense every corner of the universe, every ship, every weapon, every soul. But with all this power came the crushing weight of responsibility. He had chosen to wield the armor not as a tyrant, but as a leader. But his enemies did not share his vision. They saw the rise of humanity as a threat, a challenge to their centuries of dominance. A massive alien fleet, led by the Vorlex High Command, was now en route to confront him. They had amassed their full military might, their most advanced warships prepared for the final confrontation. They had come to crush humanity's reclaiming of the galaxy before it could begin. As the fleet approached, Ryder felt the sudden surge of tension. It wasn't fear. It was anticipation. For the first time in his life, he was standing on the edge of something monumental, something that could change the course of history. But he knew that his decision would determine whether humanity would be embraced by the galaxy or destroyed by it. Ryder's mind raced. His heart pounded in his chest, but his thoughts were calm, steady. The armor had given him power, yes. But what he needed now was wisdom. The battle was about to begin. The choice Ryder had made weeks ago, the choice to wield the armor not for power, but for unity, was being put to the test. Would he be a conqueror, bringing humanity to the pinnacle of the galaxy through force? Or would he be the peacekeeper, the one who bridged the gap between humanity and the alien empires, ensuring a future of cooperation and mutual respect? He closed his eyes and let the power of the armor flow through him. The decision was clear. "I will not be a tyrant," he said softly to himself. The words felt like a declaration, a vow to humanity and the galaxy. He wasn't here to destroy. He was here to lead, to unite, to show the galaxy that humanity's return didn't have to mean chaos or destruction. It could be the dawn of a new era, one where the mistakes of the past were not repeated. As Ryder's thoughts solidified, his hand hovered over the control panel, activating the fleet's communication systems. The alien fleet was closing in fast, but Ryder wasn't ready to meet them with fire. Not yet. He would give them the chance to hear his voice, to hear the message he had to send. The transmission flickered to life, and Ryder's face appeared on every screen, not as a warlord, but as a leader. "This is Ryder," he said, his voice carrying across the stars. "Humanity has returned to the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as equals. We do not seek war, we seek unity. We are ready to join the galaxy, to forge a new future, a future where all species can coexist in peace." His words echoed across the vastness of space. Ryder's voice was steady, yet the tension in the air was palpable. The alien fleet had not yet responded, but Ryder knew they were listening. Their commanders, their leaders, had to choose whether to accept his offer of peace or to continue the cycle of aggression. The response came swiftly, a cold, authoritative voice from the Voralek's high command. "You are a fool, human," the voice said. "You think that with a mere suit of armor, you can change the galaxy? The galaxy does not bend to the will of one man, no matter how powerful. We have ruled for millennia, and we will not be threatened by a single species." Ryder's jaw clenched. The time for words was over. His heart was still heavy, but his resolve was stronger than ever. This was the moment. "Then prepare yourself," Ryder said, his voice now a calm, commanding force. "Because I will not let you stand in the way of humanity's future." With a thought, the armor's full power surged, and Ryder activated the weapon systems. The alien fleet may have been vast, but Ryder's control over the armor, combined with humanity's will, would be enough to ensure that humanity's place in the galaxy would never again be questioned. The first shot rang out across the void, not as an act of vengeance, but as a declaration of humanity's strength. The power Ryder wielded was not just in the armor, it was in his ability to choose. And today, he was choosing to rise above the mistakes of the past. The battle would be fierce. But for the first time in millennia, the galaxy would be forced to recognize humanity's place, not as a forgotten race, but as a force of strength and unity. Ryder's journey was just beginning, and the galaxy would soon know that humanity was no longer a species to be feared, but one to be respected. The dust of the final battle had settled, and the galaxy was forever changed. Ryder stood at the helm of his ship, watching as the remnants of the once mighty alien fleets drifted through space. The Voralek's high command, the most feared and powerful empire in the galaxy, had been forced to retreat, not by brute force, but by the undeniable truth of humanity's strength. The tide of galactic power had shifted. Ryder's decision to wield the armor not as a tool of conquest, but as a symbol of unity, had struck a chord across the galaxy. In the end, it wasn't the raw power of the armor that had made the difference. It was humanity's resolve, their ability to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds and to choose peace over war. The legend of the armor had become the legend of humanity's resilience. The alien factions, once quick to dismiss humanity as weak and insignificant, now faced the reality of a new player in the galactic arena. Ryder had shown them that humanity was not a species to be ignored or underestimated. It was a species capable of great power, but also of great wisdom. The armor was a reflection of that potential, a tool for those who were worthy not to enslave others, but to reshape the galaxy into something better. Ryder knew that the future would not be easy. There would be those who would continue to fight, those who would resist humanity's rise. But humanity's return wasn't about conquest. It was about a new beginning. It was about building a galaxy where strength didn't come from domination, but from understanding and cooperation. As Ryder gazed out into the stars, he knew that this was just the beginning. The armor had revealed humanity's potential, but now it was up to them to fulfill it. The galaxy had awakened, and humanity was ready to lead. And for the first time in centuries, the future looked bright.